It was wondering, everybody. The almost in full color panel is back, and this time there's just too much news. Too much news. I guess we'll ask how everyone is doing before we begin. How's everyone doing this wonderful day?
I am powerful. Yes.
It's like the
This
Red
shit
Ranger
is so
has,
bitching. Look
the
at
Red
it.
Ranger has shown himself.
It seems Gaines has a new acquisition.
Yes, it's quite beautiful.
I would ask more questions about how you got it, but it seems a little hush hush right now.
There's two more I need to acquire.
But let's move forward. Like I said, a lot of news, and we're just gonna dive right into it. The question is, Xbox comes out first. They give their price, their launch date. Is going first a bad thing?
No.
I mean, it really doesn't matter. I guess price wise, because it seems like nobody's really going to try to beat each other. As PlayStation obviously had the opportunity to come back and undercut them, whether they undercut them by $50 or $100, they decided not to, which leads me to believe PlayStation was coming in higher, and that's why they postponed. So I feel like it didn't hurt Xbox to go first because they still matched the price, so they really didn't get undercut, and their cheaper console, Sony, really didn't have anything for it, so it still remained the lowest entry point next generation console. So in this situation, it didn't hurt them to go first, but I mean, I could definitely doesn't help to go first when you're trying to release prices, especially with a competitor.
Yeah, I was about to say Sony didn't do the normal one with it was the PlayStation 1 they did the undercut that time, right? Gains where
Yeah.
they came. Yeah, so they had
The
that
second Saturn was like 400, and then
Yeah.
they walked on stage. It was like $299, and then just walked away. It was like,
So they had that opportunity, and like Gaines said, there was probably a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes when Xbox announced their price to probably configure things, but this time, the top console's 500 for both. So
I have nothing to say. They've said
All
it.
right.
yeah.
Well,
I
yeah, I
feel
feel like
PlayStation probably 600. I think PlayStation was looking at a $600 price point to come in, like how the PS3 entered the market right at $599.
yeah, given history, I feel like it actually helped Xbox to come out first. Just that we normally have about a 6-month time frame to like know when it's coming out, where it's coming out at, and all that. So what do we get? 55 days, I think, some of that sort.
Something like that.
Between the hey, here's when it's coming out, and here's when you can pre-order. So, which is what led to this mad dash of things. But ultimately, I feel like it kind of helped Xbox in a way to come out first and to seem like they were the more transparent company of the two about how things were going to happen. And that's pretty much
I
my
feel like it
thoughts
would have
on
helped
that.
them better if they would have waited. Because, like I said, I feel like they did come in cheaper. Like with their Xbox Series X, it was going to be cheaper. So if they would have waited it out, I really believe Sony was going to come in at $600. It probably going to be 600, 500. 600 for the physical and 500 for the digital version. And then they went behind the scenes and they just slashed it by $100 and was like, all right, physical 500, digital 400. That's as close as we can get, to match the top tier console of theirs, and also kind of get a little play down, try to maybe compete with their Series S, which, I mean, obviously is not as powerful, but it's still cheap. We know what cheap does when the Nintendo Wii came out. Like people will buy it, especially for kids and stuff. So,
Well, from there, we got PlayStation's price. In comparison, how do you all feel about the price points between the two? Or do you feel like it's fair? Do you feel like you're getting a deal of any sort? Or do you feel like it's a little high?
Sounds about right.
But
I will say it probably would have came in at 600 originally, but I mean, with everything that ended up happening, I think we got the better end of the deal. So
Yeah. I mean, I definitely thought that they were both going to come in around $600. I didn't know what the Series S was going to come in at. Obviously, that was a lower power model, so that one was kind of up in the air. And I know we were discussing on earlier podcasts, like we didn't know what they were going to do with the digital version. If they were just going to give like a cheaper price, or if they were going to maybe bundle it with something, and they both be the same price. Turns out they just went the cheaper route, which is cool with me because I mean I was planning on getting the digital version anyway. So I was shocked that where Xbox came in at. I do feel like we're going to get got for the especially on the Xbox side for the additional storage, just like they did with the 360. So I mean it's real plug and play, but it's also really expensive. So I don't know what it's costing them to make those little memory card-esque hard drives, but they're definitely pricey. So they might be recouping that on the back end.
I was about to say Xbox came out and said theirs is already 230, 220. So I'm interested to see what PlayStation will be.
I don't even think PlayStation had the slot for theirs though.
They said they'll put out something where you can expand it, and they'll give more information about that at a later date.
So you're gonna have to buy the
so I don't think they were. I don't think they were all that ready for expansion then. I think they were just probably, betting on people to use like external hard drives to like offload, but not so much as to, I guess, what Xbox did, to where it's like you're almost increasing the storage like we would do with an old phone, or I guess Samsung still lets you do it, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like, hey, here's that extension, and then here's the hard drive on top of the extension. That's what I can see Sony doing. They'll do that.
So we got our pre-orders. Well, we didn't get them, but we got to know.
There's no knowledge for that.
This guy.
I was waiting, and that sounds like I'll shoot.
Covered.
Yeah. So we got the pre-order information. How did you all feel about the PlayStation rollout of their pre-orders?
Confused.
Trash.
Yeah. It was.
Well, do you put it on PlayStation? Or do you put it on the retailers?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Because, well, like the Xbox seemed it was all under control, so you would think it's PlayStation, but then like it seemed like GameStop. What was it, like 2 days ago from recording this? Was just like, we're going to put some out, and then no time or nothing. It was just like, we'll put some out tomorrow, which I feel that wasn't Sony at that point. So I don't know what's going on and whose fault.
Walmart put out a tweet. Walmart put out a tweet that said, "Oh, you think we're gonna make you wait until tomorrow to pre-order PlayStation? Come on and sign in now to pre-order." And it was like, what is this? Like blatant disrespect for like someone saying that the pre-order is gonna go up right here, right now. And after Walmart did it, it just seemed like everybody else was like, "All right, floodgates have been unleashed."
Yeah, it seemed like it was a competition thing at that point. That's why I was like, I don't know if it was Sony, but Xbox, some reason that all went smoother. I mean, no, I didn't get a pre-order, but it seemed way better of an experience than PlayStation.
Yeah, I will say Sony came out. They were like, "Oh, pre-orders go live soon. We'll tell you when." And then they subtweeted their tweet and was like, "Pre-orders are available now." I didn't see it until I saw that they had replied to somebody else. I was like, "That's great. I can't get it now." Because I think by the time I saw it, it was like 20 seconds had gone by, and then they were sold out everywhere at that point. So I guess, I mean, at least Xbox, they're like, "Yo, we're doing it at this time. You can get it from these retailers, and here's the links." And then when you clicked on the links beforehand, it was like not available just yet. And then as soon as it went live, those links worked. Whereas the links for Sony, I saw them from IGN. I saw them from like all these other third parties. They're like, "Hey, you can get it from here." And it's like when you clicked on the link by then, it was like, "Oh, Amazon, they're out now." It's just like Sony didn't do it well. At least I don't feel like they did.
So you put that on Sony?
I put it on Sony. It has to be Sony. I mean, I'm pretty sure the retailers had their time frame of like, "Yo, we can do it now," but it's on Sony to tell everybody else like, "Hey, this is when you can do it." If the retailers jump the gun, then yeah, we'll blame the retailers. But it doesn't seem like that.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Terry. Obviously, it's not 100%. You're not 100% sure if it is Sony, but I do feel like it was Sony that pretty much just told them like, "Hey, go ahead, release it now." to kind of draw up that demand and draw up that like mass hysteria of like, oh my God, I gotta hurry up and get the PS5. Because it'd be weird for retailers to kind of jump ship and go rogue on their own for the PlayStation 5, but yet follow suit so perfectly for the Xbox pre-orders. Like they stuck to that exact time. Nobody started early. And I mean, it happened within days of each other. So it's like, it's not like Microsoft probably didn't already tell them like how many systems they were going to be allotted for their first pre-order batch. So they probably already knew that information before we knew it. And we're just waiting, for the day and the time, which they probably already knew as well. So I just would find that odd. Could have happened though. I mean, maybe for whatever reason, they just wanted to throw the PS5 up for pre-orders immediately. But I just find that hard to believe.
Agreements. Maybe Xbox had agreements, like you said, to know this and it had to be this time. And maybe Sony failed to do that. And then you saw, like Keith described, like, oh, GameStop said tomorrow, screw that. Walmart, we're doing it now. And then get the draw.
Could have been, yeah.
So
yeah.
It could have been just that's where you could probably blame Sony.
Excuse me.
Now that this has happened, we have the... Damn it, I had a super other point to go to and I did not write it down. But I guess damn it, come back to me, point. Please. Come on, brain.
Allow me to help you
out. You got this.
Yes. You have the power, Keith.
Oh, that's what it was. All right. Thank you, Morpher. So I think in the last podcast, I said, I was talking about how they were talking about scalping and how they kind of wanted to try to combat that. We all kind of shot that down as like, it's probably not the real reason that, things are taking the path that they are. But with them releasing this in waves, do you think that is part of combating scalping, or do you think that's part of this is probably the first, this I think is the first big release of something that's primarily done online. It seems like I see people going to stores, but it seems that primarily most people got their pre-orders online. It wasn't, going away to GameStop line for hours to get that pre-order.
Nah,
so
I'm about to say,
do you think this is about the scalping or the adjusting to mass traffic on internet?
What was it? The first PlayStation we saw up on eBay was a piece of paper saying it was going for $600, $700, or something like that. And then on top of that, you have the actual PlayStation 4. The PlayStation 5 is going for almost $1,200, I think is the max that I saw.
I seen 1,900 UK though.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I think it's probably either adjustment or they're just like, we didn't know what to do. I don't think they know what to do.
I mean, obviously, it's not combating scalpers. Scalpers are just going to come back every time you have a release, and ones that are professional scalpers have bots. So they're just going to have their bots hit your site every time to get as many consoles as it is that they can afford, or whatever whatever number they're looking to store up on to obviously resell online. I know there were people. You could actually go to GameStop and pre-order if you wanted. Only problem was, of course, you don't know how many they actually have there because there was no numbers on how many was actually being given out, which I felt like kind of drove the demand more, because even though they sold out, like PlayStation sold out damn near within seconds. It felt like obviously seconds because most sites were crashing and you could barely reload the page. So by the time you get in, you're like, well, damn, it's gone. Obviously, bots already got their stuff and left you. But it just felt like it might not have even been many consoles allocated to those stores from Microsoft and from Sony. I feel like they're probably still having logistical problems and manufacturing problems getting those consoles built. Maybe not the console itself, but probably like little like parts within them. Especially due to the whole COVID thing. So it seems like a lot of people are having those issues. I know Apple was one of them, and they were moving their factory to, I believe it was India, to kind of combat it, to try to come, I think, out of China or wherever the hell they were manufacturing their stuff. So that's probably the issue right there. They're probably only getting so many at a time, and every time they get another batch, they're just giving them to the stores, and they're like, put these up for pre-order, and then it's got to keep waiting until they get more, I guess.
Yeah, I think I saw one video of a guy sitting there saying he got to GameStop that morning at like 6, 7 in the morning, and on their like on that door, it was like, we only have 6 available. That's as many as we can do right now. So it's interesting. It's definitely interesting.
I mean, at least on the door it told you at 6, so if you were 7th, might as well leave.
Yeah,
because you know why everybody else is there. So I mean,
yeah, I was about to say, if you see that, I mean, granted, you probably, I mean, you might have that one-off person, but still, it was just interesting just to see, like, hey, that one-off person be like, oh, I'm just here to pick up this used game.
I'm here for Streets of Rage 4. Yeah, I just really need it, bro. Are you guys here for it too? No, we're here for the PlayStation. Oh, weird.
Yeah, I will say that's the only video I saw. I mean, there's probably a ton of more out there, or maybe some other people took pictures, but that was the only one I saw that said 6 available at this very store. That was it.
Well, Roger, PlayStation has over 100 million sold units. Let's say their base, you know, what would we call it? 10%? 10% of the people you think would jump to get the 5 now? Well, what percentage would you put on that?
I would feel it's way higher than 10. It's just I know when the first release, because I'd never known consoles to have like a very smooth release even before this whole online thing. Because I know there's always been some shortage, and with the COVID stuff, who knows how bad the shortage is now. But I think the jump is always pretty good the first year. I don't know if it's 50%, but I feel like it's like in that 30, 40. Because I mean, anyone that's around our age wants to jump, like, to get the new console. It's just availability is usually the holdup for most people.
So you feel like 30 million ultimately people are vying for the PS5. I mean, is that enough to potentially crash a site in a sense?
Yeah. So like a lot of them sites don't. I mean, you got to think when they did a pre-order, you have a spike, and the game says there's a bunch of bots hitting it immediately, multiple times, because them bots aren't just one computer. A lot of times, it's like you're probably having like 50 tabs or 50 browsers hitting that one, and just since it's a high impact load immediately, that's what usually crashes it. So you DOS yourself pretty much. I said something that Gaines laughed at, evidently.
Yes. High impact load.
Yeah.
I think there's only one site that came out and said that they stopped bots. I think it was Amazon that came out and said it. They're like, oh yeah, if we found out that you used a bot, we're canceling your order.
I think they all said they were going to, but from what I was told, it's kind of hard to do that. Like it would take a lot of effort.
Yeah, I was about to say they probably find known bots is usually there. I don't know the scalping world to know how well these bots are, but I'm sure there's like what they call kiddie scripts, simple scripts you probably find online to buy stuff, like just Googling. But they usually have a common footprint, so they probably got that. At least that would take a big chunk, probably.
Yeah, like shoe bots. You can go online and Google shoe bot. You can literally just buy one. And you just set it up, you know, put in your little information of what you want, what site it's on, and the bot goes.
So yeah, them common ones, they can find probably a trace. So usually, especially if it's one that's like, oh, we run out of like India for some reason. So it's like, oh, okay, I kind of know the region. And if I see a big spike from this group over here, I can kind of tell that's probably bots. And we may screw over a couple people because of that. But
yeah.
But usually it's just a lot of people hitting the site at once. A lot of servers. I mean, Walmart's not sitting there waiting for. I feel like probably you're about a couple million was probably close to hitting it, and their servers aren't really set up for that constantly, like that 1 second to hit that page and all.
Well, we got the good, the bad, and I think it's just more bad. So we'll start with the good. Xbox spends $7.5 million to buy ZeniMax, which includes Bethesda and a bunch of other companies within there. I think Arcane Studios is one of them. PlayStation had a different approach to this gen, which was more so we will go to you and give you money for an exclusive, and that's been PlayStation's thing for some time now. Actually, you saw that in the PS4 era as well. You know, we'll go to people and pay money just to get exclusives from you, and that's that. Now you have Microsoft, which just seems like, you know, we're just going to start buying companies and buying dev teams just left and right. Do you think that this is enough to bring them to that exclusive catalog?
I feel like honestly the exclusives they got through the ZeniMax Bethesda more advertisers of Bethesda acquisition, because most people know them as the biggest name in that group of publishers, companies, whatever you want to call it. Actually is a lot better than the PlayStation exclusives, just because a lot of PlayStation exclusives are one-off games. Like for instance, Uncharted, Last of Us, God of War, Final Fantasies, like the ones that are exclusive, they're a one-play game. You play it one time, you beat it. 9 times out of 10, that's it. Like, you're not going to go back and play anymore. It might be, you know, some people that want to 100% complete it, or maybe go back, do a little extra content, but it's not a continuous game. Microsoft actually made a very good choice by picking companies that made games that are very wide, stretched out, like Elder Scrolls. People put hundreds and hundreds of hours into that game. You have games like Fallout as well. The other game like Evil Within, I heard that one's not like, doesn't have a wide of its following as like Elder Scrolls. Obviously, Elder Scrolls was the biggest one there. And especially when you're going to merge that in with a subscription service, you want something that's going to keep people subscribed. And that long of a game that people just keep coming back to play, every day, will just keep people subscribed to your service. So I feel like that might have been in the thoughts of why they went after those companies as well. Not only because they have a huge player base, but they have like a recurring player base for those games when they do come out.
Yeah, I'm about to say, you can go out and ask, like, yo, how many times have you played Skyrim? Oh, I've replayed the game like almost 10 times. Like, that's going to be a question that you'll probably hear or an answer from a majority of people that know about it.
And they have Elder Scrolls Online.
That too.
So, like, they have a whole, exclusive MMO that, I mean, tons of people play that game from PC to console and everything. So to meld that into your online service, your subscription service, like, you just want to bait people in. And $15 is not enough to where you're going to keep checking what's coming out of your account every month. It's like that sweet spot. So even if you don't use it enough, you probably let it keep hitting. And that's all they want. They don't care if you use it or not. They just want you to keep that credit card attached to it and keep paying that monthly fee.
Yeah, I was say it's a good acquisition. I mean, it takes away. Granted, I don't think Skyrim and Fallout ever played great on the PlayStation anyway. I mean, every time you heard about it, it's like, oh, you mean that game that's out on the Xbox?
Yeah,
I don't think you really
Fallout
heard.
was.
Yeah, like you don't really
Fallout
hear like
was always known for
PlayStation
their errors. And one thing about the acquisition, I'm not sure if you guys heard, but Sony was actually in talks to purchase ZeniMax. They wanted to buy the whole thing as well. I guess Microsoft threw more money. That's why Microsoft ended up buying them. They both wanted that acquisition, but I don't know, obviously whether if it was just money or maybe Sony wanted them to do certain things that maybe they were like, nah, we're not going to sell to you guys because you might want, because Microsoft is letting them be a little more independent. I would kind of put it like the Patriots relationship, where the owner pretty much lets Bill Belichick do whatever he wants with the team. But at the end of the day, it's still his team. Like, you have a lot of leeway. You're almost like the owner yourself. Like, no one questions you, but whatever came down to it, you're going to do what I say because I own the team. And I feel like that's what Microsoft's letting them do. You're on your own unless you stray too far. Then we're going to remind you who signed the check. It was us. And you're going to do what we want you to do. Sony probably wanted more control from jump. And they might not have wanted to go that route.
Yeah, I was about to say that's a lot of the companies. I thought it was very good PC wise because I forgot that's what I was looking up over here. The ID software was part of that. That's your Doom, Quake, and all that, which are known to be the PC games. So if you can lock that down, especially with the Game Pass being PC as well, I think that was a big move on there to expand on that because I know like a lot of people I know that played Fallout. It was rare that a lot of people liked it on console, but most people are PC gamers on that game as well.
I would say
Yeah,
the amount of mods that you can get on Fallout on your PC as well is amazing.
Yeah, but
And
I think that's why a lot of people just like it on PC was because of mods. I don't know if
and
gameplay fact.
thinking about it, like, say if Sony did buy them, those games may not have been able to come to PC anymore. They might have been PlayStation only exclusive. So if you look at it from, I'll just say Bethesda standpoint, just because most people know them other than ZeniMax. But from Bethesda standpoint, it's like, yo, if we sell to Microsoft, we still get a ton of money, but we're still gonna hit that console market, and we're still gonna stay on our main PC market where most people really play our games at. We don't have to worry about them saying, oh no, you can't hit PC anymore because that's like a Microsoft audience and we want to stick to PlayStation. So could have been things like that as well.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting acquisition. Is good for them. Very good. Mainly because I know some of the other dev teams that they hired in the last go round actually had contracts to fulfill a PS4 game, which is kind of like the funny little tidbit about that. And even with this acquisition, Deathloop is still a PS5, PS4 exclusive. So it's also kind of funny that they just bought this company. They're like, yeah, we still got to go deal to them on the
Well,
exclusive
yeah, you
side.
can't
So
I would say it's
cancel a
expensive to break
contract.
that. Yeah, that's
yeah,
way more
Yeah, you would
expensive.
be paying a ton of money you have to pay anticipated sales, and then you have to
Oh
pay
yeah,
like almost like a grievance fee for breaking that. Like
all the
that would
legal
be too much
fees
money.
too.
So, but you look at it past those games, like what's that game, Starfield, that Bethesda is creating or developing. That game's not coming to PlayStation anymore.
oh yeah.
So it's like they're probably looking past those initial launches of those games, like, and I doubt Elder Scrolls is coming to PS5. Elder Scrolls
Probably
6,
not.
I don't see that coming to it. But like you said, Fallout, things like that, they'll probably hit. But they're like, whatever. That's just one. Enjoy that last one. Hold it tight. Because
Yeah,
it will be.
I am
I
curious to
think
see what
before Sony
happens.
was doing the whole I'll pay you for exclusive stuff. So like with Destiny, it was, hey, we'll pay, we get all this exclusive content. Call of Duty, hey, we'll pay for this exclusive stuff. And even Xbox is the same thing with the Tomb Raider games. Like, hey, we pay, we get the first year, and then you can do with whatever. So this is just seems like to be the first big one for
It,
Xbox, and
it must didn't work out well for them or something. Because you notice they didn't do that this go around. Like Sony didn't buy any exclusivity with Destiny. Microsoft didn't buy any exclusivity with Destiny. I don't believe there's any exclusivity with Call of Duty, is there?
I think Call of Duty
Uh,
still might be.
it
It
is
was
just
for this
currently.
last one because you can't play
I'm talking about
the
the Cold
co-op
War one.
mode. I don't, I'm
I'm
not
talking
sure
about for the
about that
next
one.
gen.
I don't
And
think
I don't
so.
remember hearing anything about it for next gen. So
Uh,
it's almost like that strategy didn't turn out as well as they thought, or
Well, I
didn't
think
generate enough revenue.
Destiny took the deal with Stadia, and I think that kind of like ultimately killed any exclusivity thing outside of that.
Uh,
Yeah, and
Or they might have wanted too much money. I don't know.
I think Call of Duty
yeah.
isn't doing it either because their Call of Duty League that's starting up has always been on PlayStation. Now they're moving it to PC. So I think Call of Duty
Hmm.
has canceled their PlayStation 4 or PlayStation exclusivity as well. I mean, it does nothing but just hurt the game in the long run. I mean, everybody on Xbox is crying about like not being able to play 5 different maps. So it's like, oh, I don't want to play Destiny on Xbox anymore, and it essentially kills like their player base over there. And it's
I
just
wonder
like,
if they
oh,
still have
I mean,
skills
that's the
boost.
pool.
well, I mean,
Yeah, that's what I
it's not
mean.
That's
like
the
it's
I
pool.
hurting.
That's
wonder how
why
much
they do
Sony was
that.
having to pay for it. That's what I mean. Was it worth the cost in the end? Like after they ran the numbers, they were like, we pay X amount of money for X amount of exclusivity, maybe a year, maybe 6 months, whatever. How many units did we sell? How many units did they sell?
3%
That,
more, not worth it.
yeah,
That's
and
probably
that
what it was.
difference is like, okay, was that difference only because of our exclusivity deal? Probably so for the majority. And then it was like, well, how much more money did we generate based on what we paid in? And it's like, maybe that that didn't. I mean, they could have still broke positive, but it was just like they didn't make enough money. They're eating too much. We're not paying that money for, I guess, timed exclusivity.
I am curious to know what side actually cut it. Is it Bungie that said like, nah, we ain't doing this no more? Or if it's Sony that said we're not doing this no more? I'm curious to know. But
that's true too. Yeah.
I just want to know, like, hey, if Bungie puts out a press release, then okay, we knew it was Bungie probably. But if Sony does it, then maybe it's the other way around.
I mean, that would maybe make sense.
Sony stopped out of, or maybe they told them they couldn't do it out of them splitting with Activision, them losing, the resources that came with that, and it was like, hey, we won't be able to do what we're trying to do, and on top of that, give you exclusive stuff and exclusive missions and all that. So it's not like, or what they went to offer wasn't worth the money.
It was trash anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if it's like one strike and you want like fucking, I don't know, 100 million, it's like, yeah, I'm not paying that.
It was only one strike, one gun, and one one map for Crucible. That was it, and it was the maps and the strike were terrible. The gun was also terrible, except for the Hawk Moon. That was like the only gun that was actually worth it. Everything else was just trash. So. I don't know. Maybe they just gave up and was like, we don't want to do this no more.
Well, now that we're off the bad, or the good, excuse me, we move on to the bad. So, PlayStation originally said, Ratchet and Clank, Miles Morales, PS5 only. We're moving forward to the future and taking advantage of new tech. Now this confusion with Spider-Man has come out. Now Miles Morales is for the PS4. Do you feel like that backstep was due to the fiasco that happened with the pre-orders, and maybe they're not going to be able to get enough people to, get the PS5, so they're trying to salvage whatever they can with Miles Morales by bringing it to the 4? Or was this always in the cards?
I feel like secretly they always had it planned for the 4, and it was always being developed for the 4. And the reason why I say that is because if they didn't tell the developers that, and they tried to backtrack just because of what happened with the 5 now, you're not giving them enough time to downgrade a game that you told them, this is the specifications for our system. And it's not like Xbox to where they have a powerful console and a less powerful model. So you got to build out 2 different packages, so to speak. One is supporting 4K, 60 frames per second, possibly 120 frames per second, I guess, for some special games. But and you have your Xbox Series S, which is pushing more towards 2K, that 120 frames per second. So you can kind of have a downgrade there already. But if you're telling them this is what the PS5 can do, we want you to take full advantage of this new SSD, we want you to take full advantage of our new graphics card, all that stuff, and then you tell them this late in the game, I mean, they're probably in final testing for that game. It's probably really ready to go, and probably just iron out some bugs. Be like, oh yeah, you need to port this back to the PS4. It's like, wait, we really drove home the functionality and the power of your SSD to leverage not having, maybe because that SSD is so fast, developers were saying they could use it almost as additional RAM. There's no way you're going to do that with the hard drive in the PS4. So I just feel like it would be too much to backtrack and try to work out. So I feel like they always knew it was coming to the 4, and they just really wanted to kind of make it seem like the 5 was like really like super powerful and like this is a whole new game for it or whatever. But honestly, I think I was talking to Roger earlier, not today, but maybe yesterday. I feel like, remember back when they were showing the old Spider-Man and they were saying, oh, it's running on the 5. Look how fast it loads. And look what it looks like now. Now look at it with RTX on. I feel like all they did was take Spider-Man, give it a new story, base it around Miles Morales, and they turned RTX on and they increased the load times using a new SSD, and they called it a new Spider-Man game. That was literally, if you watch the gameplay footage from it, all the animations for Miles Morales is spot on from the Spider-Man game on the PS4. When he jumps, when he moves, his body type, everything, it's perfect match to the 4. Even some of the finishing moves he did, you could tell there were slight variations. Like when he grabbed the guy with the webs, pretty much brought him in for the kick. That's a finishing move from Spider-Man on the 4. So they were very, very close games. Just one is a little more polished and obviously should load a lot faster.
Yeah, I feel like it was just a standalone DLC. It reminded me of like Grand Theft Auto. Was it the Lost Stories where they put out the 2 DLCs there as a standalone package later on? I feel like that's what they did here. Was just they had the game, had enough there, and then wanted to show the PS5, so they made it, bundled it up with the original stuff, just upgraded it and shipped it out, which would help with backwards compatibility too. If that's what they did, of course it'll run on the 4 because they use the same engine, same everything that's already there.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
nothing really to say because I
would
didn't
say
play
like yeah,
Spider-Man, so
even when you notice when he activated his special, when Miles did his special, it was like you could tell they based it around a lot of lighting, probably to really show off, you know, the ray tracing and stuff. But when he punched the ground, that's the same animation you did on 4 when you would use the shockwave and stuff to knock people back. So I was like looking at it, I'm like, oh my God, this is literally a carbon copy of what we played. They just changed the story, changed the main character. And I mean, you could see the fighting and everything. Like everything was the exact same. They didn't deviate at all from it. So, which is good because I'm going to know how to play day one.
Well, that's my next question. Given that it's $40.
50.
Does that?
50.
Oh, it's 50.
Yeah,
It's
the
$50.
special edition 70. I got confused with that.
It goes
yesterday.
50, 70, and I think there's a $100 version, but I know there's a 50 and 70 one. The 70 one is called Launch Edition or something.
That's what made me feel like it wasn't like it was like a DLC like game because it was cheaper than Sackboy, which is
70.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sackboy is 70. So, and so is Godfall. Godfall is 70 as well.
Worth it.
To unconfuse some confused people who I may confuse even more. If you buy PS4 Miles Morales, you will be allowed to upgrade to PS5 Miles Morales. If you buy PS4 Spider-Man, you cannot upgrade to PS5 Spider-Man. If you buy,
you mean have PS5 Miles Morales?
Well, if you buy the $70 version of Miles Morales, it comes with a remastered version of Spider-Man.
So pretty much what they did with Miles Morales.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they were just like, we can bundle that right in. And that speaks more to Roger's point of Miles Morales being a DLC. Because Miles Morales is supposed to pick up where that game left off. Like, I think they said, it was a few months later or something?
It's
supposed to be really close where the last game left off. So that really screams DLC. But whatever. I mean, I'm really interested to see what that PS4 version is going to look like. Like how close are they going to look visually to get? Obviously, the load time is going to be way different, but I want to see graphically what's the difference, and is it like, oh my God, or is it like, like I can see where it is. Like, yeah, this light looks better.
I could wait a year before getting the PS5. That's
yeah. So,
which now leads to the big foregoing thing. Xbox has touted their Game Pass. I think we've talked about it briefly here, but for those who don't know, Xbox Game Pass is the best thing smoking. I don't think there's really much that competes with that library. With them getting the EA deal now and talks with Ubi to put Ubi stuff on there as well now. They say Valhalla might be day one on Game Pass, which might be fucking crazy. But Xbox Game Pass is that with this PlayStation Plus curated list, how much more do they need to do to make it comparable?
Well, the curated list is just old games. Like,
yeah.
I mean, that's the first problem there. And if they wanted to compete, you're going to have to almost say all Sony first party games are bundled in with your PlayStation Plus membership.
Yeah,
I don't have much else to say about that. That would be the only way to even compare at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like what Keith said. I mean, Xbox Game Pass is definitely the best thing out there right now. It's funny because they almost, even when they brought in EA, they trumped EA on their own subscription model because EA has their EA Play, and you get, all the EA games included, but the brand new games you have to pay for. And I think you get them for like $50. They give you like it's like 2 or 10 hours worth of gameplay.
It depends
And
which
then you have,
version you get.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
there's
and then you have
EA
to,
to play, yeah.
if you play the
okay, and then you
$5
have to,
one, I think it's you get to play 2 hours earlier than everybody else on release. But if you get the $15 one, you get to play 10 days before release.
I don't remember.
but you
all
still
that.
have to buy the title.
Mm-hmm.
You just get it at a discounted rate. See, and Xbox was like, hey, we bring on in EA Game Pass. Yeah, they're all going to be included day one on Game Pass. Like, you're not going to have to buy anything. So it's almost like they absorbed EA's model and was like, now you're useless because no one's going to use your subscription service because we're giving your brand new games out for free day one in Xbox Game Pass. And like Roger said, unless Sony's going to step to the plate and do that, they're not going to compete from that aspect. Like, you're not going to, especially Destiny. Destiny is no exclusive content. It's going to be hard to tell people, hey, pay $70, pay $60, $40 for Destiny. They're getting it for quote unquote free over there on Xbox. Oh, you want to play the new Madden? Oh, yeah, they got it for free over there on Xbox. Oh, you want to play the new 2K? Oh, not 2K. You want to play the new FIFA? Oh, yeah, that's on Xbox. You want to play the Halo? Oh, yeah, that's on Xbox. What you paying for that? Oh, I just pay $15 a month. I get everything, and I got a whole bunch of old games in the catalog as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have what you have, but I also have everything that comes out day one. It's like, oh, wow. Yeah, that is nice over there. It's, I mean, I was looking online to kind of see what's the average number of games people buy a month. Not a month, a year. And they said on average in the United States, most people purchase anywhere from 3 to 4 games a year.
That seems low, but okay. I can see
I
it.
guess,
I can see it, but
I
yeah.
guess you have the mass extreme, and then you have the people who barely game. So on average, I guess it factors out to that. So I was like, okay, well, if you're purchasing about 3 games a month at about, we'll just say $50 a pop to add in the, obviously games on sale and stuff like that, you're looking at about $150 a year from that person, or on average. And the Game Pass is $180 a year. So from Xbox's perspective, they're probably like, we're always going to get that generated revenue. And not to mention if you got any microtransactions or anything like that. I mean, if you feel like you're not paying for the game, you might be a little more entitled to buy some skins or buy some, buy some other little extra stuff. But I guess some kind of way that they're going to make that work, and they're still going to be profitable from it. So
yeah, I was about to say, I'm sure they probably looked at the numbers, and that average probably does make sense. Where like I think we generally buy probably more than that a year on games, which that's like, oh, that's a good deal because you're buying the Xbox Live, which was always $60 a year, and 2 games a year is the price of Game Pass to you. Now you get a bunch.
I feel like they really targeted people like parents. You buy the Xbox, you pay $15 a month, your kid can play all these games. And they're getting the brand new games like Fortnite, all that stuff, all the big titles that you know about, that'll be included on it. You won't have to buy anything. Parents are probably like, oh, well, yeah, I definitely want that. Let me attach that to the credit card. And they're like, great. Because now we don't have to worry about like the kids having to bug you to get the new game. And you're like, I ain't trying to pay no $70. Why the game $70 now? Or they just 60? They going up again? Because I remember when that happened when the 64 came out. Games went from 50 to 60, and it was what do you mean $60? Like, oh yeah, they 60 now. They better now though.
I
64 bits.
When Gaines started talking, it reminded me of like, I just pictured his dad yelling at him as a kid. That voice, like that came from the heart when he said that. Like that was an argument that happened.
Yeah. What do you mean it's $60 now? Like, oh, dang. I don't really know how to explain it because I'm a kid, but it's because they had to. They didn't want to do it. So I feel like that they're really attacking the casual gamer to get them on board, and subscription model is the easiest trap there is.
And like I said,
look at Netflix.
It helps big gamers too. Like, I mean, if you a big Microsoft fans, if you're already there, because like I got the Game Pass for PC just because I felt like a lot of games are starting to show up now. And it's just cheaper. That's how I've been playing Flight Simulator. Game Pass. I didn't pay $60.
I feel like they're going to give everybody this $15 price point, and say in about a year, maybe 2 years, they're going to increase it to 20. They're
That's
going to do
what
the
I
Netflix
figured.
model. Netflix came in really cheap, and Netflix slowly just increased it a few dollars. And you notice
revenue?
that people didn't leave. Yeah, people didn't leave because you're already in. And you say like, oh, it went up $3 a month. You're not going to leave for $3. You'll be like, $18 now? Ah, whatever. Screw it. It's just
It
$3
depends
more
how the
a month.
Netflix went up too because they were getting bigger and bigger company. That's what they leveraged too. It was back when
That's what I
Marvel
mean.
was on it. They were like, "Oh, okay, $3 more, but you're getting the Marvel movies now. That's
Yeah, that's
worth
what I'm
it."
saying. Like they got Bethesda now, they got EA. So it's like I feel like later down the road they're probably going to try to come back to the well for that. Be like, we're gonna need a little more money, or if they bring other people in,
Yeah, in
like,
about
hey,
2 years, 3 years, those dev teams that they brought on 2 years ago should start to bear some format of fruit, and
yeah,
so that would be the perfect time to make that upcharge happen.
All I gotta say is, Microsoft, if you are watching this, we want our cut. We just gave you the best idea ever. Give us our cut. That's
the
all I'm
best
saying.
they probably already had a damn idea.
Nah.
They're bastards.
If they do it, they heard it here first. Don't come out here and say 1999. No, they heard it here first.
Oh yeah, and for the record, I have an Xbox Series S. Yes, I was able to successfully pre-order one.
I did not.
I was going after the S anyway, so I wasn't going after the X. But
I have not had the chance yet.
Roger,
I didn't get PS4. I mean PS5.
as you and I delve into the music world a lot, there's always the running thing that Drake, Adele, and Taylor Swift eat all the money off of Apple through, people subscribing to, was it Apple Music? Is that what it's called? It's very simple. I should probably know that.
Yeah.
Apple Music. So there's always a big thing that, Drake, Taylor Swift, and Adele get all the money, and that pretty much everyone underneath, they do get money for their streams, but it's not what them three are going to get off of theirs. Do you see Microsoft having this issue with Game Pass, with some devs are going to want what big devs are used to getting, and your indie devs may not get?
It depends on how they cut, because that's something I've been wondering with the free game. So if you're unfamiliar, like on PC, the Epic Store puts out a game like every week. You got Twitch Prime that puts out free games, and then of course you got like Sony Xbox doing that. I feel like they pay a certain price just for those. So I'm wondering if it is they just pay a price per year for their license, and it's just they already know their subscriptions there. Or it could be the music way where it's like, hey, this $15, Keith has played Halo for 90% of the time and then played indie game here. So you get 10% of his $15 and Halo gets the rest. I think that would be weird to do, but I don't know how you would break it up, just because gaming seems different a little bit on that. So I feel like it's just maybe contract out. I would hope it would done. I couldn't imagine it like plays. That would be weird.
Well, it is now on to the high score round. No, I didn't like that. We're not doing that. All right. Colorful Games sounded better. Colorful Games sounded much better. Anyways, recommend a game, damn it.
That was not my suggestion. There was no full involved.
Let's see. Do I have a game this time? Well, it's not out
you
yet.
should be the one to start, because
my game's not out yet.
Had a game like the last 4 times.
I haven't played anything. RuneScape's the only game I've been playing recently, but my game's not out yet, and it's Godfall. They put out.
You can't recommend people to play a game that they can't play.
They can play it in about 2 months,
and you haven't even played it to know to recommend it.
I have seen enough gameplay to say it is.
I'm about to say he played that trailer over and over, Keith. That trailer gameplay.
No, there's combat gameplay out now.
I'll say
there's videos. That's all I've watched, and I'll keep.
He sits with the controller and pretends he's playing the gameplay video.
I can just tell everybody go play RuneScape. RuneScape? Anybody? Roger's played it.
Yeah.
I was playing it.
All right. Well, my recommendation is Rogue Galaxy. Rogue Galaxy. If you have an old PS2, you can get it there. It's also on PlayStation now, or you can buy it on the PS4 at the moment, and it's an upscale version with trophies and all that. It's a JRPG, very craft based, so you can craft all sorts of nonsense. It's crazy. One of the best JRPGs I've ever played in my life. Rogue Galaxy.
surprised
Is that
Games
me?
didn't get mad because you said PlayStation now.
Nah, if I said Last Remnant, then like,
PlayStation Now is a horrible service. If you can download it, that's great.
oh yeah. No, I'm
gotta
sorry.
stream
You're
it,
right.
like-
You're right. We need to be responsible. Do not get it on PlayStation Now. Just
Don't
buy
do
the
that.
game. I think it's like $10 on the PS4. Just
Yeah,
do
then just
that
buy it.
because you're gonna put at
Just buy it.
least 60 to 70 hours into the game. So
Yeah,
do it
please
that way.
buy it. Do not stream it from PS Now.
I apologize for being irresponsible.
I appreciate that. Your apology is accepted.
Mine would actually be the Super Mario All Stars 3D. I mean, obviously everybody loves Super Mario 64. So I don't know about Sunshine. Sunshine's weird. Some people really love it, and then other people don't care much for it. It's one of those love-hate games. But it is a really good game. I just feel like for whatever reason it fell in a maybe people didn't like the idea of Mario shooting water.
I think
could've
that's
been
what it is. I think a lot of people that hated it never played it. Like I always heard
maybe
that.
Americans really hated it because it was about cleaning up pollution. And we're like, no. They felt like they were the ones being attacked in the game. Like, why would he clean up the sludge? We put the sludge there for a reason to kill the plant. But anyway, so yeah. I mean, yeah, Super Mario 64, and it's a little polished. I mean, it still looks like the one on the 64, but you could tell they polished it up a little bit. Same thing for Super Mario Sunshine, and you also have Super Mario Galaxy from the Wii. So, I mean, 3 great games. It's a timed exclusive, timed availability, so you got to get it before, what is it, March, I believe is when they pull it.
March.
Stupidest thing I've ever heard, but whatever, it's Nintendo. But that doesn't stop them from being really good games, and for $60 you get three great games. So that's my recommendation for High Score Gaming.
We'll find a name, damn it.
I would say I would recommend Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 that came out at the beginning of September, the remaster basically. It's $40 and you get 1 and 2, which was amazing games. You get most of the original soundtrack. Most people remember those games because the soundtrack, it was 4 songs they didn't get licensed for, but they added new music. It was really polished. The levels look amazing. For a 20-year-old game, they did really well, and I've been enjoying it. And you have like 700 challenges to do, so you have a little bit of life to the game if you're big into doing collectibles and stuff.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to end it for this one. Make sure to hit that notification button, that subscription button to see when new content makes its way onto the channel. As usual, we hope this finds you in great health. Peace, be easy, be blessed.